So we met in person in May of 2008. We like to joke that we met on the now defunct social media site of MySpace, but that's not entirely true. One of my best college friends and pledge sisters was Zach's backyard neighbor all growing up.
Yeah, we grew up on the little idyllic small town block where you had 6 houses laid out and all the backyards met, and these folks were our neighbors. It was funny, my folks knew their folks in college, so we did a lot together, went on vacations, all that type of stuff as kids.
Yeah, so when I was graduating law school in Mississippi and knew that I was going to move back to Arkansas, she's telling me, you got to meet Zach, and they're in his ear, you got to meet Lauren. So we'd kind of been spying on each other on MySpace to see, okay, is this even a person I'd be interested in? And finally, I think I friend requested you.
She did,
yeah.
She did.
And so then we did the MySpace messaging, and then we went to email, and then phone calls, and then finally at the friend who had set us up, her wedding reception, we finally met in person and went to dinner and had a drink right before the actual reception so we could sort of meet privately. But so that's the story of how we met, but we always joke that it was MySpace.
I think for both of us, we knew when we met we both wanted kids. That was something that was in the future, but we wanted a couple of years for us to be able to sort of enjoy life and travel and eat and drink and sort of be a little bit irresponsible.
Right.
Just the two of us before a little one came along.
Yeah, and I think that we really sort of got serious about it, and I can't remember the year when we were in Phoenix. I remember laying out by the pool at the Marriott Desert Ridge and thinking, okay, is it time to maybe start? And then we thought, well, no. And then I think it was when Zach's brother and his wife got pregnant that we're like, okay, we have to go ahead now too because the timing's right, and it's we're not getting any younger.
Yep.
And we had always kind of wondered because I'm always the kind of person that thinks of all the scenarios and possibilities that we may have trouble getting pregnant for whatever reason. And as it turns out, it was 3 years later, after really deciding that we were ready to start trying, that it was over 3 years that we finally got our little miracle.
Yep.
Getting pregnant ended up being a much longer process and a much more expensive process than I think either of us would have desired or expected. All's well that ends well, and we'd do it all over again.
Yeah, it was patience trying at times, but we had, you can't say enough good things about the doctors, about the nurses, about all the people that we worked with and that got us to this point.
That really ended up feeling like family.
Yeah, I guess that's the good side of it, is you see a lot of good in people, and you see how what they do really helps.
Right.
It helps make people's lives better.
So for the course of about 3 years, we tried, we tried just the fertility medicines for months and months, and the intrauterine inseminations. I think we did 10 of those. And finally, it was time to move on to IVF. And the timing sort of, we didn't know if it was a good or a bad thing, but Zach's job, we had found out, was bringing us to Colorado. And it was a choice of, do we start from square one with doctors here in Colorado, even though we'd heard that Colorado had one of the best fertility clinics in the United States that's just not something we were comfortable with. So we decided, even if it meant us getting here and having a baby kind of all alone without the help of any family or friends, we decided to trudge forth and attempt the IVF right before we left Arkansas.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was one of these things too where there was nothing physiological that anybody ever found that was an issue, and it was just one of these things unexplained.
Yep.
And finally, that's why we went down the IVF road. And again, you know, great people, great doctors, and
it worked.
Yeah.
The first shot worked, and that was probably the coolest process, was just seeing how God has given us the science and blessed these doctors with the knowledge to be able to help people like us who maybe if we'd have tried for 10 years, we'd have done it on our own, but it wasn't looking like it from all the efforts we had already gone through. And then it's amazing just that they're able to create this perfect little healthy baby girl. I think we're both just really excited that David was able to capture this incredibly special time in our lives. I mean, pregnancy, I think, is a special time for anyone, but for us especially, after all that we went through, just to be able to look back on this. I know, like, our engagement pictures are really special to us, and this is just going to be the next thing that we'll look back on 5 years from now, like we do on our engagement pictures, and say, oh my goodness, I can't believe you were that big, and I can't believe that, she'll be growing up by then. And just to know that it just all started from one little cell, and we have photos that the doctors gave us, of her as an embryo, and then we've got all of her ultrasounds, and then we'll have the pregnancy photos that are just like works of art. And our family already that we've shown is just they're just so excited that we did these. They were kind of wondering, well, why do you want to do maternity photos? And now they see why, because it's just going to be something that we're going to treasure for the rest of our lives, and that I hope that she'll treasure and look back on, throughout her life as well. I love you.
I love you too.